Top skills I'd recommend a tester focus on in 2022. The first thing I'd probably say is, with the size of our community these days, we're now over 1 million community members worldwide. Our community just grows year over year. So one thing I think is really important for you testers and community members to do is to stand out and to do what you can to kind of, stand out above that crowd. 'Cause there's a bunch of people in the community these days. And I'd say there's probably two ways you could do this. First of all is, maybe kind of a no-brainer, but it's to do good work. To every time you're in a cycle, to do the best you can. Do the best at finding strong bugs, valuable to our customer. Make sure that the work that you're doing is valuable to them. Making sure that your work is professional. Great titles, great steps to reproduce, following all of the requirements of that cycle. That's probably number one, is just to do good work. That actually separates you from most folks. It's sad to say. A lot of folks just kind of come in and just trying to get paid. But if you're coming in there and you're there to represent yourself, to build your brand, to build a reputation and do good work, you're going to stand out. So that's number one. And the number two thing I'd say to help you stand out is to do something unique to stand out that maybe not even directly involved with your day-to-day testing. So something that I did a number of years ago, maybe you could, copy this or find some way to do something similar. When I was starting uTest, I kind of took this idea and I ran with it. And I on the blog posts back in the day, our forums, I should say, I put up this idea: should testers report every bug that they come across? And I was making the argument that no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't report every single bug that you find. And that was a very polarizing stance. And it was really interesting because a lot of people jumped in on this conversation, and it kind of got me a lot of press. When I was early on, I was able to write blog posts, do some videos, and a lot of people engaged. A lot of people were really passionate about that topic. And it was really interesting. It was a lot of fun to kind of debate it. Whether or not, it was right or wrong, that kind of polarizing topic and just, engaging with people was a great way for me to stand out. The second thing I'd say is not so much a skill, but a trait, and that is to be dependable, to be reliable. So, we've got some really high value customers, high pressure situations, short timelines, and we need to get this work done. We need to do it well. And in those situations, we go to the folks that we know are going to deliver. They're going to do great work. They're going to do it on time. We can trust them. They're dependable. So be that person. And how do you be that person? Like, take every situation, take every opportunity you have, and do the best that you can. And as you do that, we're going to see you. You're going to become recognized as a dependable tester, a dependable TE, whatever the case may be. And when that situation comes up next time, hey, so-and-so, they did great. Let's give them another shot here. Or I know this person's going to just crush it, and we're going to go to them over and over again. So be dependable, be reliable, and that'll put you in a great position for 2022. Something surprising about me that has nothing to do with testing. Well, maybe this does actually have something to do with testing. So back before I had kids, a long time ago, I used to race and stunt motorcycles. So I grew up in Alaska, and we did, there was an old airfield way up in this place called Tok, Alaska, and we'd bring our sport bikes up there and we'd actually race. It was pretty fun. So I did that for a couple of years, where they leaning their bikes way over and trying to drag your knee on the ground. So did that for a while. And then I got into what's called stunting. It's where you kind of do like motorcycle tricks, like wheelies and all that type of stuff. And so this is where the testing part came in. We had this great idea to try to do motorcycle stunts on a frozen lake way up in Alaska. And so I was one of the first people to try this out. We put like screws in our tires. The screws are sticking out the back of the tire to try to give us traction. Anyway, it didn't work out so well. I crashed and I damaged my hand pretty good. You might have seen me wave my hands around in these other videos and lost a finger. So kind of a fun story there. There's some crazy videos floating around on YouTube if you're ever interested in seeing all that nastiness happen. But yeah, that's something interesting about me that's actually a little bit related to testing, because I tested it out and it didn't work. Well, I'm probably not the best person to ask this question to, because I'm definitely not up on the latest technologies. Personally, like, my phone is an old iPhone SE, so I'm like 5 versions behind. And as far as fun, I don't even have like a gaming console or anything. So I'm not a very good person to answer that question. But what I could answer it is how I think you should think about that question, how I think you should think about answering the question for yourself. So, as a U-tester, you want to look at devices. I'm not going to tell you you should go out and buy this device or that device, but it's kind of that old adage, teach a person how to fish or give them a fish. So instead of giving you a fish, I'll kind of tell you how to fish. I would think, the best way for you to go about this question is, from a work perspective, is really pay attention to the industry and pay attention to trends and make your decision based on that. So, for example, the latest devices are always in high demand from our customers' perspective. Anytime there's a new device, customers are lining up for testers to test on those devices, especially if there's a new form factor or some new feature or some new operating system that's attached to it. But I'd look at, what devices have a good chunk of the market share. So I wouldn't go out and, necessarily buy something that's got like a 2% market share, because the amount of work that you're going to get for that device is pretty low. So, look at trends, and not just general trends, like look at trends in your area, because, what we really see a lot of is we want testers, our customers want testers in a very specific area, and they want devices that are common in that area. So a device in the US, we may have a device that's really popular, but in Brazil, there may be something else that's very popular, or in India, there may be another type of device, or, whether it's iOS, Android. So, take that into consideration too. Just don't look at the market as a whole. Maybe look at your individual market and be representative of your market, because that's how you as an individual are unique, is where you are and the devices that you have where you are. Because that's really, Applause's selling point, is we can build teams. We have testers in every country that represent that market. So represent that market, because that's a big value that you bring to Applause and to uTest. And then as far as fun, I don't know. The Oculus thing looks kind of cool. I don't have one yet, but I'm thinking about maybe getting one because it looks kind of neat. But I don't know. Again, I don't have anything, so I can't really answer that question.